MX3.VIP, here we are again, money, motivation, and Mike. And speaking of M's, Jason, it's March Madness time once again. And it seems like we did have an episode on March Madness 2025, won by the Florida Gators over the Houston Cougars. I was pulling for the Cougs because I remember the Fly Slamma Jamma back in the 1980s. Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler. You know who Akeem is. Akeem the Dream.
Yep, I know Clyde Drexler as well.
You know Clyde the Glide?
Yeah. Trailblazers.
That's right, he was. Mm-hmm. And finished up with the Rockets.
That's right.
But yeah, he took the Trailblazers to the NBA Finals. And let's see what year, 91, 92? 92. Yep. They got beat by they were the second team to get beat by the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
There you go.
Back when I could watch the NBA.
It's the NBA. It's not your favorite sport today?
Not today.
Well, how about March Madness? Where does that rank on your list?
It's still down there.
Still down there.
Well, I would definitely enjoy watching it. It's priorities.
Have you ever filled out a bracket?
Yeah.
When was the last time you filled out a bracket?
About 2003, 2004.
20 plus years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have filled out a lot.
And I won that bracket.
Did you now?
Yeah.
What was there? You and your wife? Was that the only ones?
No. It was a work thing.
Oh, work thing.
Yep.
That back when you worked over there at Signal with all those women, was it?
Back over there when I worked for AT&T Wireless.
Okay. Well, you had some fellas in there that should have known a little bit of something.
Yeah.
All right. Get this. I don't keep up with college basketball quite like I once did. Mm-hmm. You know, checking out a game every week, checking the scores. And I just don't. I got other priorities. And college basketball is not one of them. But I love it. And I get involved at this time of the year with the 68 teams, the 4 play-in teams, the 4 play-in games to get you down to the 64 final teams. So last year, I was handed a bracket on Tuesday night, the night they were playing the 4 play-in games to get into starting on Thursday, which is where we are right now, opening weekend. And hand me a bracket. I just went through. I did not. I looked at the seeds. You know, we got 1 through 16 in 4 different regions. Mm-hmm. I looked at the seeds, but I also looked at the names of the schools, and then I also who do I really want to win this game? Yeah. You know, that type of stuff. I did it. There was 30 plus entries with 0 knowledge, Jason. I got second place.
Wow. That's some luck.
No, that's skill, baby.
Well, you know the history at least.
The history, that's right, of which we're going to talk about today. But first of all, and by the way, they didn't ask me to play this year.
Is that right?
I was in that restaurant Monday night, and they did not hand me a bracket.
Imagine that.
So now I got shut out this year. They didn't want me taking their money. I think those 30 something entries, second place still won me like $125, something like that.
Okay.
That's gambling. That's illegal gambling in the state of Texas.
Hey. Not you.
And speaking of that, we'll get to that momentarily. But just so you know, here in March Madness, and before we get into that, a month or 2 ago, we did a little episode on some things, and one of them was the Jim Irsay collection of the deceased former Indianapolis Colts owner, and now his 3 daughters run the team. Jim Irsay collection. This last week, they finished it up. $93 million was raised off the Jim Irsay collection.
Very nice.
And I don't know the amount, but the item that went for the most amount of money was the saddle that the jockey obviously used in the 1973 Secretariat. There was your highest item.
I like it, actually.
The saddle?
Yeah.
Being the top.
Yeah. I like me some horse racing.
Here we are.
Yeah.
53 years later, and the most intriguing item in his $93 million collection was the Secretariat saddle. How about that? I like it. Moving right along here to March Madness. Yeah, it just kind of goes in right. Money, motivation, Mike, March, Madness. I mean, this particular time of year has been meant for us, Jason. And what are we, like 300 people away from 300,000 subscribers? I mean, it's something crazy.
Yeah, as of this recording, about 347.
347. We might have that before it goes off.
I bet you we will.
March Madness started in 1939. Now, I did not know this. The idea came from the head coach of Ohio State. At that time, Harold Olson came up with March Madness. And if you recall back in those days, which we don't, because most of the viewers and listeners on our show was not around in 1939. I was 30 years away at that time. That's where it all started. Now, this is astonishing. Remember, this is 3 weekends, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
You got four days opening weekend, 4 days the second weekend, and the Saturday and the Monday, the third weekend. You're talking about a Thursday through a Monday, which 19 days. That's how long this thing runs. 18 days, 17 days that this tournament will run. Paramount Skydance. I didn't know Paramount and Skydance were a company now, but they are. Just like Warner Brothers Discovery. These companies signed a contract in 2032 with the NCAA, and they pay $891 million annually for the broadcast rights of those 3 weekends.
Okay.
$891 million. That the advertisers can afford to pay the NCAA for the rights to show these games and still make a profit.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
And they're not paying $891,000, Jason, to make $5,000. They're not paying $891,000 to make $9 million to make it $900 million.
Mm-hmm.
They are making the dough.
Oh, for sure.
Incredible. That also tells you how popular March Madness is.
Yeah.
Outside of the Super Bowl, the most bets are placed on the March Madness.
I believe it. It's a big deal.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's a big deal every year.
Incredible stuff. Okay. This is what I also found interesting. Tell me March Madness basketball. What teams, what are your teams that you think of?
Carolina, Duke.
I like how you say that. North Carolina first.
Yeah. Well, I go back to Jordan.
That's where I go back to.
Yeah. I lost interest when all these guys were flopping, and I just kind of tuned out after that. So
people have really lost interest over the fact that they are now getting paid.
Who's getting paid?
The college players.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, with what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But you are correct. I mean, that's when you think of college basketball, I think it's Duke, North Carolina, Duke.
Yeah.
And those campuses are less than 20 miles from each other. Now, obviously, the Kentuckys and the Kansas and frankly, most importantly, UCLA.
Okay.
UCLA has the most national championships.
Okay.
Back to the John Wooden days. So, with that in mind, the most victories in the NCAA tournament, North Carolina has 131 victories. Kentucky has 131 victories. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Duke is third with 118. Now, UCLA really hasn't been relevant for quite some time. They won the national championship in 1995 is the last time I believe. But they still come in fourth with 114 victories.
Okay.
And Kansas has 111. Kansas and North Carolina have been tied a lot. For example, the legendary Dean Smith that coached North Carolina. He was a Kansas. He played for Kansas. Roy Williams, North Carolina. He coached at Kansas. You know that them two teams are kind of tied together. There's several players and coaches that have been a part of both universities. You had to win 67 games to be in the top 10 of victories in the NCAA tournament. Indiana checks in at 67. They've won 3 national championships, by the way.
Hoosiers?
Indiana Hoosiers.
Okay.
Hoosiers is right. The show, correct?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Louisville, Michigan State, Villanova, and Syracuse. All right there. Villanova and Syracuse are in there. It's interesting that Georgetown is not, because when I was getting involved in it, it was all about Georgetown and Patrick Ewing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Remember, Patrick Ewing was in the very first basketball game I remember watching at the college level, which was the North Carolina-Georgetown game. Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of highlights.
Yep.
Because I wasn't following college at all at this point. Not that I ever have, actually, but I was definitely watching some NBA back then, but not college. So, but I've seen a lot of highlights, though.
You like the Jordan, the Bird, the Magic Johnson days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Now moving right along here. This is interesting. Most semifinal appearances. That's your Final Four, which, so you got basically your Sweet 16, then they call it the Elite 8, then the Final Four, then, of course, the National Championship game. So getting to the Final Four is, whenever these universities start setting their goals, these basketball clubs start setting their goals at the start of the season, most of the time their goal is not to win the national championship because they don't know that that's even obtainable. But their number one goal, outside of winning a conference or having a winning record, how can we get in the Final Four? Because if you can get in the Final Four, anything can happen. You've only got to win 2 ball games. But how do we get in the Final Four? That's why it's a interesting stat that we always put out there. How many times have you been in the Final Four? How many games you won in the Final Four? North Carolina has been to 21 Final Four appearances.
Okay.
Once again, UCLA. This is how dominant UCLA was back in the days. They've been to 19.
Okay.
Duke 18, Kentucky 17, Kansas 16. It's them same 5 teams.
Yeah.
Up there at the top. And like I say, that's how dominant UCLA was for a long period of time. They really have not been relevant for the last 30 years. Matter of fact, they won their last national championship 30 years ago, 1995. So that's how that rose. I also found it very interesting here that coming in at in 8th place with appearances was Michigan State at 10. Magic Johnson went to Michigan State.
Okay.
Yes. No Indiana. No Hoosiers involved in this deal. Yes. All right. Most national championship game appearances. UCLA, 13. We have 2 teams tied once again at 12. North Carolina and Kentucky. How about that? Duke has 11 and Kansas has 10. I think we know who the Mount Rushmore is of college basketball.
Yeah.
Do we not?
For sure.
Now, what's also crazy, UCLA's been to 13 national championship games. They've won 11.
That's pretty good.
North Carolina has been to 12 national championship games.
Mm-hmm.
Only won 6.
Mm.
And by the way, they come in 3rd place in national championships.
Okay.
Kentucky has been to 12. They've won 8. So
Pretty
they're
good.
on a 2/3 clip.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes. Duke has been to 11. They've won 5.
Mm.
Which is a big deal out there in the old North Carolina area. That we still won one more championship than you have in that North Carolina Duke deal going on out there. And coming in 5th place, Kansas. Kansas has been to 10 national championship games and only won 4. 40% clip there.
Yeah.
So, get this, Jason. Between these 5 schools, 58 appearances in the national championship game. 58 appearances.
That's quite a bit. That's the majority of it.
Since we're only 80 what years in here are we? We are 1939. That'd be 61, 86 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this might be 87th. Yeah. And they've been to that many.
Yeah.
Yes. That is absolutely astonishing. Now, Louisville Cardinals. They are the only team outside of multiple. Some teams have been to one and won that one. Louisville Cardinals have been to 3 and they've won 3. Yes, that's right. We're like an Ohio State where we talked about their coach started had the idea of March Madness. They've been to 5, only won 1. Yes. So that rounds that out. Michigan State's been to 3, they've won 2. And one of them was Michigan State over Indiana State in 1979. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Larry Bird went to Indiana State. Indiana State has not done anything since Larry Bird left.
Wow.
All right. And like we talk about, the number 1 seed. Everybody wants to be the number 1 seed. Not sure that it means a whole lot other than you get to play the 16th seed. And in your second round, you get to play the 8-9 seed winner. So being the number 1 seed supposedly gets you some easier games. Okay? Take a wild guess at who has the most seeds at number 1.
Would it be UCLA?
North Carolina.
Okay.
One of the other 4.
Yeah.
North Carolina has 18 number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. Going back to what would we say, 80, let's just call it 85 years. I think it's 86 years.
Yeah.
They've been the number 1 seed almost 25% of the time.
Wow.
At least 20. Kansas and Duke are tied with 15. Kentucky has 12. Now, UCLA, this was interesting right here with UCLA. They have been the number 1 seed only 4 times. Won 11 national championships. Have been the number 1 seed only 4 times.
Going in as the underdog?
I guess so. Yes. They coming in the top 5. Arizona and Virginia. That's out of the blue.
Yeah.
Arizona and Virginia have been the number 1 seed 7 times. And they round out the top 5. Obviously, they're 5 and 6. But your other 4 schools are there. And UCLA, 4 number 1 seeds. Get this. This is the teams that have 5 number 1 seeds. Georgetown, like a Gonzaga. Gonzaga's been good over the last 10 years. Michigan State, Oklahoma, 5 number 1 seeds. And Purdue. Could you tell me one player that's ever played for Purdue basketball?
No.
I couldn't either. Matter of fact, out of Purdue, I'd had to sit here and think about it. If we went down the football, baseball, basketball list, the only one that comes to my mind right now is Drew Brees. He quarterbacked it. Purdue.
Okay.
Yeah. UConn comes in with 6. So, nevertheless, hey, here's you astonishing. The big bad Orange Bloods down there in Texas have 1 number 1 seed. How about that? Yes.
They'll take it.
Baylor has more number 1 seeds than does Texas in the NCAA tournament. They have 2. Remember, Baylor won it here a few years ago.
That's right.
And Texas Tech got beat in the national championship game 2019, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I just think that is very interesting. All right. Of these number 1 seeds and how important it is, Jason, there has only been 2 years that all 4 number 1 seeds made the Final Four.
Okay.
Since 1939.
Yeah.
2008 and last year.
Really?
2025. Florida, Auburn, Duke, and Houston. All number 1 seeds, all made the Final Four. And The other now hey, this is also interesting. 2008, Kansas, North Carolina, UCLA, and Memphis. Memphis messed that deal up, didn't they? So when you find Duke right here, in part of that, so once again the Blue Bloods were all a part of that deal right there. How many times has there been a Final Four without a number one seed? 4 times. There's been twice as many tournaments without a number one seed in the Final Four than there has been all 4 number one seeds in the Final Four. And and I did not realize this. This is as late as 2023. 2023. UConn, San Diego State. San Diego State got beat by UConn. San Diego State played a national championship game. Never would have thunk it, would you?
No, I didn't know they had a basketball program.
Of course you didn't. What's the best thing out of San Diego State? Tony Gwynn.
I like old Tony Gwynn.
You'd go for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So last year, 2023, UConn, San Diego State, Miami, and Florida Atlantic. If I'd have said, hey, this next weekend, we're going to go down to Florida, and we're going to a Florida Atlantic San Diego State basketball game, my first question would be why?
It's worth the gas.
And those 2 teams, Jason, a measly 3 years ago were in the Final Four.
Wow.
And one of them won the game. Played UConn.
Did that $819 million contract pay itself off that year?
Those programs will live off that for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because the farther you go, the more money you get.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. You get beat out in the first round, you get 1 check.
Yeah.
Well, San Diego State played in all the games. They got a large check. They got the second largest check behind UConn. Good for them.
Got to repaint the floor that year.
Yes, they did. I believe they got a new locker room.
They probably did. New lockers.
And those kind of things, those kind of events, can set a program off.
Oh, for sure.
Because they now do have the money to improve their facilities, to get better recruiting opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. That's right.
Or capitalize on it quick, though.
Yes. Well, like I told you, this has only been 3 years ago, and I do not remember San Diego State and Florida Atlantic being in the Final Four. Mm. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely astonished by these facts.
Kind of hard to keep up in tax season, so.
Yeah, but I kept up enough to get second place last year.
Well, there you go.
Hey, did you mention the word luck?
Yeah, I did.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Total, going off history, luck. Number 1 seeds in the championship game. Obviously, in 2025 it happened because all 4 of the number 1 seeds were there. And obviously in 2008 it happened because both of them, all 4 of them were there. 11 times. 11 times. Number 1 seeds have played each other in the national championship game. You guess who the leader is with the most appearances playing a number 1 seed? North Carolina. North Carolina has played in 4 number 1 versus number 1 seeds.
Mm.
Yes. You think North Carolina would have more than 6 national championships, wouldn't you?
One would think.
One would think. Yes, they would. But nevertheless, they go a lot. Just haven't cashed in as many times as UCLA or Kentucky has.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to finish it up with this. And I thought this was pretty crazy. And I know we're getting a little lengthy on this episode, but you know how I am.
Yeah, we do.
These are the seven rules. They're handed out to every player in the March Madness, the 68 teams. These are the 7 rules that are handed out before they take the court. Now, some are pretty goofy, but this is what you get in your hand. or in your email or on your phone, whatever, however they get it communicated this year. Hey, guess what? Number one is no gambling on the brackets. Now, you can fill out a bracket, but you can't put money on the bracket.
Okay. Yeah, you got to be told.
You got to be told.
Okay.
I thought they went over that when they enrolled into the school and got on the team, but you can't gamble on the brackets, fellas.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Headwear is monitored. What in the headband? Headband is monitored and no jewelry, Jason.
Okay.
Here's your controversial one. The men's jerseys have to be tucked in. The women's March Madness, the women's jerseys do not have to be tucked in.
Trying to think of the reason.
Different rules.
Yeah, whatever.
I think the ladies needed a special rule, and they get the option. The men do not. You're going to love number 4. Excessively long fingernails must be clipped off.
Use them as a weapon.
You get these lists of rules, and number 1's no long fingernails.
And some of them probably out there sharpening them up.
And here's you another goofy one. So you score the winning basket, and I lift you up off the ground. Players can't lift or carry teammates. You hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer. We cannot carry you off the court. You will be reprimanded if you carry someone off the court.
Really? They going to take the game away?
I guarantee you, if you hit the 3-pointer in the national championship game, you're getting carried off the court.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, go ahead. Reprimand us.
Yeah.
I'm graduating.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, players, this is number 6. Players must be respectful to the crowds, the coaches, and the officials. Can you believe that?
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that.
Maybe they watch too much NBA where they just let the waylay on them. and get this, Jason. Number 7. We'll finish with this one because this is it. You cannot use tobacco while you're on the court.
You cannot use what?
Tobacco.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
You can't have a dip. You can't smoke a cigarette while you're running up and down the court. This right here tells you just how stupid the NCAA is.
Right. You never know what teams might make it in. I mean, you get, what was it, Florida or something?
Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made it in.
So they're not used to these rules.
Yeah.
So why you have to hand them out. You can't dip snuff or smoke cigarettes while you're playing the basketball game.
Some of these organizations, you just never know.
Goodness gracious, NCAA. You just continue to show how foolish you are. Anyway, we'll continue on this process because when we come back on the air, the first weekend will be over with, Jason. And I'm expecting some big-time upset surprises. One of them, 2 of them, 3 of them. Somebody in the blue blood top 5 of the basically the teams that we just covered are going down. It always happens.
Yep.
And it's going to happen again this year.
Yep.
All right. Always contact me. info@mx3.vip. Tell me who you are expecting to win the tournament. Go down to the comment section, right?
Yep.
Down there in the bottom of that YouTube channel.
Let us know below.
Yes, please. YouTube.com/@MX3 Podcast. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Jason will notify you of all the new content. Of course, MX3.vip. And for everyone who has been a part of this show, continue to live your life the right way.